Test, test. Okay, thank you. Dear Lord. All right, let's try this again. You change one, you don't log in for just a little while, and now everything doesn't work. All right, test, test, test. Good. Hello. Biggest friggin' nightmare. All I want to do is craft, but no, I have to sit around for 30, 40 hours to get it working again. Oh, thank God. All right, let's not craft for a while, because why in God's name would we want to do that? No, let's futz around with settings and nonsense. Oh, so infuriating. Dear Lord. Okay. So audio mixer I can get rid of. Audio mixer, I'd like to get rid of it. There we go. It's not gotten, now it's just in a separate spot on the screen. This is what happens when you get a crafter who is trying to manage all this happy horse roar. All right. We'll do what we can. I don't want to see the audio mixer anymore. Clearly it works. Okay, good. It's gone. All right. I have this. I have no chat because God only knows how that works now. All right. But you can hear me. I can see you. That's close enough. I'm good. I want to craft tonight, not diagnose computer crap for hours. Yikes. Oh, I just want to craft. I just want to craft. Oh, alrighty. Rubber band. No rubber band. All right. Tonight's project is getting rid of, I shouldn't say getting rid of, but trying to hide seam lines on some 3D printed antlers. See, I don't see why I have chat here. I can't just embed it in there. Oh, it has been a while. It's been a long while. Oh, that's going to bug me. Okay. Oh, yeah, I've been, God, what have I been doing? Numerous little bits, tons, in fact, of electronics projects which don't always transition well to a stream environment. Oh. Oh, just feels good to not be diagnosing nonsense. A little bit of model assembly. Not a huge amount of like Halloween-y style crafting, which, you know, the channel is pretty much based on. So, whew. Oh, that's, yeah, that's got a scent to it. Bondo, glazing and spot putty. But the fact that that looks very liquidy coming up, I'm wondering if I have to give it a little bit of a squish around. Directions. Break top. Clear area, have it free from dust, dirt, and grease. Well, it's free of grease. Apply thin coats using plastic spreader, i.e. my finger wrapped in a nitrile glove. Each application must be thoroughly dry before applying the next coat. Sand between layers. Yeah, that would be nice. Application will normally dry in 20 to 25 minutes. Thick applications are subject to cracking. Remove sanding dust. Done. All right. Not affected by water, oil, or gasoline. Thank God for that. I was planning on dousing that all in gasoline. Weight. Pound? Maybe? Yeah, probably about a pound. That would be my guess. Looked a little liquidy first coming up though, so I'm hoping it becomes more putty-like. I also have some wood filler here, just in the off chance that this is not the product I thought it would be. We will do some finger painting. Okay, there we go. My big hope is that this will seep into the cracks. It's only really the cracks that I'm trying to cover up. Let's try to get a view. Yep, you can see them right there. There are the spots where my printer simply is not big enough to accommodate too large of an object. And so consequently, I am left with cracks. I'd rather not have. This will all be eventually painted over, but I am experimenting with a few different products to possibly make the cracked lines disappear, even if it takes like maybe 1 or 2 applications. Oh, I did buy a bigger printer. Yes, I certainly, absolutely did. I got myself a Bamboo H2S, which is a monster beast that I am excessively pleased with. All right, now I know why some people are saying you should thin this out with acetone and paint it on. Then again, a quick sand should get rid of all of the fingery gookety marks. If there are any, we'll see. That's why we're testing. I'm finding that where I splorched this very heavily on initially, it doesn't seem to be any kind of mark remaining. Now, it might need just 2 flat-out applications. And I don't want to lose too much texture because, quite frankly, these horns are gorgeous. But that is a significant reduction. All right, let's tamp down the edges, and we'll attack some of the other cracks here. Chances are that 99.9% of Halloween goers will never notice an issue anyway. But I'll know it's there, and that'll piss me off. Probably try a different horn next and maybe try the wood filler. Assuming that wood filler is still good. It should be. This Bondo stuff is relatively inexpensive. Does seem to do a number on these really rough edge spots. On most 3D prints, for anyone who doesn't know, you often have to use what are called supports to handle areas that are freely overhanging empty space. And when you remove those supports, it sometimes leaves areas of roughened plastic that stand out. These are going to go on to just a whole mess of deer skulls that I've printed out. They're all downstairs though. But they have a nice runic Celtic pattern to them. I'll take the eyes and I'll put some LEDs in them, so they'll look nice and spooky. And they will contribute to the garage scenery of spookiness. But we're kind of on the hunt to simply find the best product to get rid of the interface line. I think the next attempt I make with this, I will try the thin it out with acetone method. And then paint it on. I've got plenty of scuzzy brushes that I can use for that. That certainly has done a good job of hiding the transition line. We'll let this one percolate for a bit. It's all right. I hit a button on my other little gizmo. All right. I'm in need of a container that will withstand acetone. Mineral spirit acetone. I have that in my resin stuff. Give me just a moment. Oh. Oh. Need a silicone cup. Oof. Oh. Resin. Okay. One silicone cup. All right, I seem to have a tolerably large splorch left there. Next one, we're going to try mixing this with some acetone and using a gross brush to lock it on. Which is good because this one has some far more significantly sized gaps. The big fun, though, is going to be actually painting these things, which I highly doubt I will do much of on camera, but who knows. Okay. Splorch. Acetone. I used to have a screwdriver over here that was a lot flatter than that one. How about that? Will that work? There we go. This should not need much. Okay, gross brush. I know PLA doesn't react with acetone very much. Hello, Fuzzy Cat at my legs. How are you? All right. I would love to pet you right now, but I am gloved up. Okay. This dries fiendishly fast, which I would expect from acetone. And as expected, It's not really. It's getting around the crack, but it doesn't seem to be getting into the cracks. I'm curious to see. A lot of folks use this particular combination for eliminating layer lines in prints. Ugh, man. Wondering if I might have more luck simply using a paintbrush with the raw putty. Well, in a minute I'm going to find out because this is nuts. All right, that's a good seal. In that one spot and nowhere else. Ooh, yeah. Like that. I like that a lot. That is attacking the crack. But we are leaving behind brush strokes, which is not the worst. And I suspect I'll be able to give a dip in here. All right, let us continue the adventure. Should paint up exceedingly well because Bondo is used very, very often on vehicles to build up areas that have been otherwise annihilated by rust, scratches, or whatever. And typically they will sandpaper it to a extremely close to, I don't want to say close to mirror, but they'll get it back down to auto painting conditions, and auto painting conditions, since car coats are so obscenely smooth, they will typically look pretty good afterwards. Trying to hit the center of this with the bulk of the putty effect Then take the edges out into a fade with the acetone thinned stuff so I don't have any kind of clumps and aggravating spots. And again, I can sand it. I hate sanding 3D prints. If you want to do it right, you have to do it kind of wet sanding style so the heat doesn't build up, because if the heat builds up, your plastic melts again. Just a pain. Well, so far this is telling me that if I am patient and build up a few layers, it should make these cracks go away. I'm trying to use up what I've got. I'm a little bit worried about adding way too much and having it crack as it dries. Bondo's generally pretty good about that, but it's a concern. The whole point of 3D printing all this stuff was to make it easier, faster, better. But with the new printer, where in the past it took me 3-part assemblies to make an antler, with the new printer, I can usually do it in just 2 assemblies. Is there a cat down there? Nope. All right. Just want to use up what I've got. Let's use up what I've got on some of the uglier areas. See what we can do with this support structure removal stuff. I did rotate the antlers such that any and all support structure yuck looking would be on the back side of the antler, which should be invisible to any Halloween audience. So they shouldn't see it anyways. That feels pretty nice. If I was going for 100% smooth, I would be very stoked. But I'm not. I just want it to be invisible at a distance. And in a darkened garage, nobody's going to see that. All right. Mickey, what's up? Hey, little bear. All right. I'm going to let this one percolate. That acetone should last a little while. Do you want to have any water? I have a very minimal amount of water. Enough to keep a paintbrush from getting destroyed. All right. Next thing to try depends entirely on if this stuff is still in a liquid phase. It's sort of in a liquid phase. Okay, it's not in a liquid phase. If we're very lucky, there is a gooey core in the middle. We're not very lucky. All right. Very well. If we're very lucky, then it will reconstitute with a little bit of solvent. First, we will try some isopropyl alcohol of unknown concentration because I don't see any kind of label on that. I would guess it's 91%. That's what I usually keep. It's getting softer. All right, it's getting softer. We might be able to bring it back from the dead. Of course, everything that's mush generally gets softer if you remush it. I'd like to use one of my earlier, less cool prints on it. Oh, that works really well. It's working really well at the onset at filling the gap. However, that could just be because it's mushy consistency stuff being mushed into a crack. It's also entirely possible that this is not actively reconstituted at all. It's just been made slightly more liquid and will fall off as soon as it dries. In terms of getting into the crack, though, and plugging it with something that has some mass, that's really not bad at all. Yeah, it's pretty damn nice right off the bat. All right, let's try reconstituting another fragment. This glove is ripping, but it's okay. I do not spill out. Thank you for not spilling out. I appreciate that. All right, the isopropyl alcohol seems to work. I am going to try the acetone, though. Easy to spread, shrink, and crass resistant. Da-da-da-da-da. I have no idea if one of these guys will withstand acetone. We're going to find out. If it turns to plastic slorch, then we'll know. I probably added a little bit too much, but it's a great thing with acetone. If you don't like it, wait a few moments, it'll be gone. I also kind of want to see if I can reconstitute this with water. Chili. Oh, it's one of the more fun things about acetone is just how fast it gets cold. All right. Reconstituted with acetone. I think I'm going to be getting some wood filler in the future. We'll have to see how it holds up long term, though. But I like how it's just making the crack visibility go away. You know, these nitrile gloves are also a little old. That finger's already toast. Okay. My finger doesn't stink like acetone, so I probably didn't get too big of a hit. Not that acetone's that bad, but it's not anything I want to be immersed in for any length of time. I can. I also don't want to be. The problem with doing witchwood on this is that I would have to paint it first completely, then apply the witchwood, and the witchwood is going to leave flower spots all over it. And if I miss cleaning up any, then they're going to leave a kind of brown dookie spot wherever I miss it. And that does not fill me with happy, happy joys. What I should also do, although it's a little bit, I have some straight up drywall joint compound just sitting next to me here, so I may very well attempt that too. Say the drywall compound, which we obviously use in paper clay. I think the alcohol reconstitutes this stuff the best. But again, we'll see if the adhesive effect remains afterwards. Or tomorrow I'll just go out and get some new fresh wood filler. It's like because it fills the cracks, and I have a feeling these stray and errant bits will come off later with just a little bit of hard pressing. leave us a tolerably nice flat surface. We'll see though. That's why we're testing. Just making me think back to a lot of messages I occasionally get on the channel where people are, I'm about to use this product. What do you think? I'm thinking, I've never used that product. I have no idea how it's going to work. Why don't you try it on the sample and see how it goes? Because I have no idea how it will work. That product may not even exist in this country. All right. That's okay. All right, let's do the at 3-4 feet, you'll never know the difference. No one will know or care. It'll be invisible at a few feet of range. That's really nice, honestly. In terms of ease of application and rapidity of application, I like that a lot. All right, so that is reconstituted wood filler. Let's get ready for our crash bang boom as I knock crap over. For my next trick, fairy lights? All right. Lift it. Yes, we can. If. I am definitely adding 2 of the skulls with horns to either side of my Halloween throne. 1000%. Because last year I was finally able to give away one of my thorn crowns, which I've been wanting to do forever. Blech. Was one of my earlier ones that was good but not great. And somebody came by who was wearing the right kind of costume, whose head was the right size, and I smacked the extra crown on his head and made his night. I think I have a whack-a-majig down there. Yes, yes I do. One whack-a-majig. And whack-a-majig has resealed it. Doing all right, yeah. Doing all right. Doing as all righty as we probably can. And right now, just testing out the prospects of different filling and sealing products on some 3D prints that have really big gaps in them that are angering me. All right, that is really wet putty. Let's try some slightly drier gypsum chunks. It's not the worst. It's going into the crack, but I can still really see the crack. Drywall joint compound's got to be mildly sandable afterwards with a respirator. I don't think I want gypsum dust in my lungs. What's going in there? We'll see. See how well it hides. If it works, it's going to need multiple applications. Wood filler is my favorite so far. Let's see how this does on these yucky support clouded sections. There's one thing I know and love about joint compound, though. It's that I know I can just take a wet brush and go over it. Yeah, I mean, at least the Bondo dust is fairly well inert afterwards. I mean, quite frankly, I don't want any kind of industrial gap sealer dust in my lungs at all. End of story. Okay. Let's do... I'm going to do a little bit of brush smoothing with some water. Doesn't quite pass the 3-4 foot test on that big crack on the right, though. Let's do a little bit of brush smoothing. Give me a brush that is sacrificial, but not hyper bristly. So if I don't use a soft brush, This is definitely one we're going to have to see. The results here will not be apparent rapidly. But it's doing everything I love and expect from drywall joint compound. And any large bits should crumble off. We'll let that percolate. Let's see what we got. All right, on to the next thing I want to try. Which I haven't used in for flip all ever. What is this? Ooh, it's an air freshener typey stuff. Looks like it might be kind of pumpkin-y. Nope, it's incredibly vanilla-y, but it's still rather pleasant. One great problem of being a craft room pack rat is that they're old gloves anyway. Is that you've got the right products from the job, but you don't know if they may have expired a long, long time ago. All right, I need scissors that care, i.e. are close to me and still very functional. I have a nice pair of Fiskars down here at one point. Now I have a wrench, some batteries, a paintbrush, a pair of nippers, some Citadel paints. Ugh. In theory, there are workable scissors near me, but I think these are going to be the closest ones that are rapidly and easily findable. Oh my God, it's like cutting through iron. This might not work. This putty may be a little too old. I mean, it still bends. I'm thinking this is going to be a no, a great big flat out. What the hell were you thinking? No. Yeah. There are definitely some paints out there that just don't. All right. Well, the top's not working. Maybe the bottom's a little off. Hey, Joey, how you doing? Maybe the bottom's still good. I mean, really, it's only been about 12 years. How bad could it be? I have no idea if I'm even going to be able to work this stuff at all. All right, let's do the twist test. Oh my God, it's working. It's suddenly become incredibly soft and pliable, and I am absolutely just kidding there. It is iron. But this might offer us the opportunity for funny if I see that I have a bench vise up here. I had a bench vise. Give me a minute and I'm going to go humorously look for the bench vise. It's not going to work, but it's going to be hilarious if it exceeds even up here, which, you know, 50-50 shot. And let's bring some crap out of the way here. What even is this stuff? Oh my God. Yeah, I'd say we should clean out the craft room, but things like that only occur in fits of rage. What are you? Decorations, green, new. It is a set of solar lights. Good to know. I probably had dreams of putting them in a tombstone. All right, now we can put the drywall joint compound back. And quickly look for a bench vise. There's one downstairs. There might be one up here. I'm looking where I suspect it to be, but I don't see it. So to hell with it. Nope. I was going to try to put this putty into the bench vise to work it, because that's about the only thing I can think of that would actually have enough force to get this stuff crushed together and workable. But I do not see a bench vise around, which is somewhat tragic because it really would have been hilarious. Yeah, there's entirely too much. It's a bench vise. It heard its call. We shined the bench vise signal and it responded. No, bench vise. Now we just have to extract it from the archaeological dig. This stud finder was once used by the 3rd dynasty king of this place. There's a wine bottle opener here. Presumably, this person is an alcoholic, or used to be. Drill bits, yes, they've obviously used drill technology. Some E6000, clearly a craft-minded individual. Some great big eye lensy things. I remember the pumpkin that used that. Oh my God. All right. Garbage. Useful. Would anyone like a true Citadel paint Warhammer miniature blast from the past? Behold, the ancient paint pots. Bad Moon Yellow. Still liquid. Snakebite leather, still liquid. I think these older paint pots were definitely better than the newer domed ones. I mean, quite frankly, doesn't matter. I'm not a huge fan of them myself, but all right. We have hands on the bench vise. Now let's see how much stuff wants to come with the bench vise. Because if you're pulling out buried garbage in a craft area, it doesn't want to come alone. It wants to bring all its friends. All right, nope. Friends have to stay behind. Ugh. Oh, this is going to be funny. Maybe not. It's probably just going to be me hammering bits of Iron Lake putty together. Nicky Bear, what's up? Purr. Hi. Nicky, you want to be on TV? Hey, little bear. Let's see if we can confuse and surprise him. Nicky. Purr. Come here, little bear. Purr. Come on over. Be a star. Be on TV. Purr. I don't think Nicky is interested. Samhain might be, though. He's already moving in this direction. Hi, Sam. What's up? Hi, how are you? I'm not going to be able to grab a hold of Samhain. He doesn't want to be grabbed. He doesn't want to be grabbed. And he just ran off after Nicky, so... Yeah, there's definitely that... I really do... I'm not going to say I should probably do this, because if I say that, it's just not going to happen. We all know that. But the craft room does need to be gone through to find the supplies that are no longer any good, so they can be consigned to the pit, i.e. the garbage can of whence they came. All right. Let's cut ourselves another slice and see if, with the power of bench vice, we can't, God, it's like iron. We can't turn this into something that is capable of moving. Oh my God, this stuff's just coming right off. What part of you is coming off? There we go. I'm honestly just looking forward to trying this for the sheer stupidity. So, for those of you in the know, this stuff is 2-part epoxy putty, formerly known in the world of modeling as green stuff. And it is supposed to work by taking the 2 parts, the blue and the white, mushing them together, the epoxy putty forms, at which point you can go ahead and begin mushing it into whatever shape you want, and over time it will harden. Kind of like JB Weld in that regard, but made to be for modeling. Therefore, and ergo, a little bit sturdier in the forming process. Since the, of course I dropped it on the floor. It's down there somewhere. Ah, UV flashlight. No, I think we're going to leave that. It's down there somewhere, because under UV, I can't see a blessed thing. Oh, wait, we have these phone things now. Ha-ha! There it is. All praise to the phone. Oh. Okay. You shall be workable. I know it. We shall squeeze the white into the blue, and you shall become workable and soft and pliant. I know it's been 12 years, but you're still good. I believe in you. All right, squish number 1. This is such a fruitless exercise. Squish number 2. I feel the epoxies working together. I'm more curious of anything to see if we could even get it mixed to a state that would have worked if it wasn't, you know, crud. On the plus side, it seems to be pulling the rust off the inside of my vise, which, you know, that's handy. So this stuff is going away. I am not keeping it in the craft room anymore. It's becoming more workable in that it's tearing apart more easily. The best course of action will simply be to be going to the hobby store tomorrow and grabbing a little bit more. I did have high hopes. If it functioned, I was going to try to throw some of it into those cracks and use the sculpting tools to attempt to smooth it down on the edges and see how efficacious it was at removing the lines. If I had to make an estimation, I would say it's about 5% more pliable than when I initially nabbed it. But proper epoxy putty is workable with hands as you mesh it together. This is absolutely not workable. I was also curious to see if it would soften at all under working. Hey, Chad. Yes, I am. Hey, Spooky Sprouts. Doing well. A lot of electronics projects and 3D printing stuff. Having some fun with some 12-year-old, very much should have been thrown out 10 years ago epoxy putty. Wondering what the hell my cats are up to right now. Scampering around. We recently had an extra cat visitor who terrified both my boys. Yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time on that. It was a fun amusement, but no, it's not even worth time. But it was amusing at the very least. All right, let's check out. We still have some acetone stuff in the bottom of this. I think this has had its 25-ish minutes to cure. I don't want to re-dunk it into anything. put this somewhere where I can hit my toe on it later. $25. Okay. Well, I'll be honest with you, I like the coat of it. Let's do a very tiny bit of sanding. Oh wow, yeah, that crack is practically invisible now. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I don't want to do a lot of sanding now. All right. Let's see what we got. Okay. I still have some more of the putty and acetone. I'm going to give that a second coat over the top. Let's see what we got. Because I do have a fair amount of this Bondo stuff. And a lot of the acetone has gone away. So this is a lot more paint on putty than it was before. I am at the very least extremely confident that I can make these cracks disappear with this substance. With enough time and patience. I don't have a lot of patience though. And it sands exceedingly smooth, which these are really nice. Pardon. And to think, I bought more acetone for this. Did not really need to do that. All right. The other thing that I like is if I hit this with a few coats of primer filler, I probably won't even need to sand. Nobody's going to notice the difference in the texture at that kind of range. Who's that? Hey, Sam. How you doing, little bear? Oh boy. All right. I think since I have something that works and I have time, I'm going to do a fair amount of repairing right now with this. Don't really want it on my hands. Acetone, it's on you and then it's gone. Hey Trav, how's it going? Thanks. Good seeing all you guys again too. It's like having the band back together. I've actually got a couple of pumpkins over there that could use some painting. Nice. This is actually really good. I don't want to lose too much detail, but sealing the cracks well. Quick sanding in post should make them beautiful. Yeah. Had my usual problem though. As soon as I got everything going, it's like, oh, everything's different now, by the way. All your hookups to YouTube and everything don't work like they used to. Spend 40 minutes dicking around. Ah. Install this, install that, sign on again. Ah. All right. I think after I sand that, it'll be in good shape. Yeah, the camera's even barely picking up the seam. All right. Good. Let's do some work then. Oh. This is one of the first sets that I printed out for the new garage decor. It has the most egregious set of gaps in it. It's almost got the consistency of painting on a thick coat of Elmer's glue. So what have you folks been up to? Any cool projects? Fun stuff going on? These are all filament resin this size would mean I have access to a lot more money than than any self-respecting middle-classisto should have. Giant SLA printers are expensive, and the resin that they use for that amount of printing is expensive. But the models that I got are really, really gorgeous. I love these antlers, and the person who made or scanned them, or modified scans, whichever, has a lot of different designs. DM247, I believe, is their name on MakerWorld, or DMT247. If anyone goes on MakerWorld and looks up antler and or deer skull, their stuff will come up. Exceptional designs and free. So quite frankly, I really like having skulls and bones of animals in my display, but I really don't do hunting myself. Oh, the beach balls descended. It's not to be unexpected over time, though, obviously. Especially if you haven't pumpkined in a while. Awesome, Tracy. How are you and Carol doing? See if I can not spill it on myself. Nope. Nope, spilled it on myself. I blame the container. It's fine. It's fine. It's going to be fine. It's okay. That is thick. Holy hell. Wow. Last Halloween, I did not do a whole lot of crafting of new stuff. It's one of those, you have the intentions, but it's not the will. I think last year was a little more meh. I don't want to say I was meh about Halloween, but I was kind of meh about making new things. We had a new giant reaper up. I mean, I've got a garage full of pumpkins already. It's almost like, you know, I'd love to make something new, but I already have all this old stuff that's not going anywhere and consuming storage. This can only end in tragedy. You get to that point where you're kind of like, we're kind of inundated with Halloween stuff. the one I really want to work on. Yeah, so not really much in the way of new stuff. We'll see what happens over time. It's just really down to getting in the craft room and having a project that you're excited about. I was excited for Halloween, but not really for creating anything new. I must say I have been having great joy of late utilizing AI systems to help me imagine, dream up, and craft new bits. I can't remember if I showed you guys the responsive lantern project. I didn't complete it, but it is a lantern that changes its color and behavior based on its proximity to other people. I'd like to make more reactive props like that if I can. Mind you, I need to complete the first one. I do paper mache, but I haven't done it in a while. Like I said, I've just got all those pumpkins in the garage already, and they're right there, and they're ready to go. And it's like, do we need more pumpkins? We already have like 30 pumpkins. Might be a different story if I was like Wicked Vine Designs and I made ones and took them around and sold them, but I don't. No. If I did the craft circuit, I would agree with that. But my garage doesn't agree with it. Down purely to storage and how much space you got. I don't have the cash to be like, you know what they should do? Let's spend 14 grand on building a new garagey storage space. Mind you, if I had 14 grand just lying around, yeah, we'd be doing that. But sadly, I do not. Mind you, I'm going to have to create storage space for all these friggin' antlers and the deer heads that go with them. But they can be mounted on walls. So I keep telling myself, they won't take up as much space. I'll just put them on the walls. What I really need to do is figure out how to make Gerber files for circuit boards so that I can more easily have some pre-made circuit boards for glowing eyes and other various effects that I can just plug in, slap on, and they'll be done, rather than trying to custom wire a bunch of other stuff. weird, but I feel like more pressure is making that line vanish faster. I'm willing to bet it's because I end up spreading the more caked up gook on my brush into the crack more. And it probably acts more like the wood filler did. Good. Oh. Probably, yeah, it was around then that I kicked off the career. Or the channel, I should say. Long time ago, in an apartment on the other side of town. Yeah, that's when I first found J-Wall's channel and followed his instructions to make my first pumpkin. And then from there, everything branched out. I mean, you know, we're still a small channel here. This is never had the aspirations to be like, oh, we're gonna make a crafting channel. I already love my job, so. The stuff they let me build there is just, it's insane. And I get to just do it and then take it into classrooms and show it to people and talk about the science behind it and use it to illustrate concepts. It's paradise. It really is. The old saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I really like this particular set of horns. I still want to try that epoxy putty. Because when this stuff gets kind of tough like clay and I really mush it in the cracks, God, that crack just vanishes. Absolutely just goes away. My real hope, quite frankly, is that in another, let's see here, it's May 8th today, I believe. Another month and a half, I'll be on summer break. And if I'm very lucky, I will have enough inspiration and chutzpah to make it a crafty summer. Make a bunch of new stuff. I have several props I need to repair. This was definitely a year of prop damage that needs fixing. I love silicone cups. Oh, sorry, Dave. I missed your thing there. The moving spirit thing is sitting right over there in a state where I have the hands on it. The head that I made for it got moldy in the back, which made me and pissy. And then the other trouble I've got right now is that the mount that I wanted to lock it to, I couldn't make it. Again, I tried to make a paper clay piece that would lock on, but it got moldy and disgusting, which really dissuaded me. I'm also still not sure how that thing will look and bend when there's actual fabric on it. I did a little bit of heat bending on it, and I am so afraid that right now it's in kind of a C configuration with the motor at the bottom. I am so afraid that when I add cloth to it, it's going to just fold right over. And so my ghost is going to be hyper slouched. And that just ticks me right the snot off. Just the thought of it doing that. What I need to do is throw cloth on it, test it, and just shut up and do it. So, yeah, that's the state that thing's in. I'm sure it's viable. I'm sure it's not going to be that hard to work on, and I'll be able to get it where I want. But I hit a lot of dissuasion speed bumps in the making, and so it has sat there for probably about 2 years now, just kind of collecting angst. Because every time I look at it, I go, "Oh, you should work on that. You should finish that." And I go nuts. House in New York State, Tracy. We're in dear old central southern tier New York, Chenango County. Okay, please don't get on my hands this time. Please, please, please don't get on my hands. You're not on my hands. I dodged you. Na 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 na, ha 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 ha. I made it too watery. Crap, 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 crap. Maybe not. Maybe it was part of the plan all along to make it too liquid. No, it sucks. More goop. Oh, I don't want to comment on what it looks like coming out of the bottle. And there's a couple more houses in town actually that are doing big Halloween stuff. They all seem to be winning awards. Not me, though, because they put their crap out all month long, and I only put it up the day before with Don. I'm not jealous or bitter. Not at all. I will die on that hill. I think the thing I love the most about our Halloween, though, is we have staff. My uncle has been coming down from Ohio / Iowa West for the last several years to help us out, and he's been having a blast, and we've been loving having him. Our compatriot Brian comes up from Oneonta and does Halloween with us, and it's just really nice to have the gang all here doing it, making it special. Oh, thank you for not getting on my shirt. I appreciate that. Well, I still see these cracks. I know this works because the last time I sanded that little bit away, it worked great, but it's like painting, and the crack's still there. God damn it. At least also by mixing it with acetone, it tends to dry, quote unquote, fairly quickly. Mind you, it's not cured, but it's dry. My crafting shirt is in the other room, lying on the floor. I didn't honestly think I would need it. The old smock. Probably could also use a good wash. It's always got flour on it. All right, now. Oh, hey. Oh, here's one I didn't get completely done. Stay. 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 Okay. Ah. Yeah, I missed this whole side here. So let's see. For this year for Halloween, we're going to have a whole bunch of these spooky deer skulls on the wall. I will rig them with glowing eyes, of course. Cha-cha-cha. I made a unit that senses proximity and plays sounds. I probably ought to do some more development of that. As I mentioned before, the AI systems have made that so much easier. Where before it was me staring at a book until my eyes boggled out. Now it's like, hey, ChatGPT, how do I do this? I'll start with this, this, and this. Although I have kind of shifted to using an AI called Claude a bit more. That one is more code based. So when I say, hey, can you write me a code for my little microcontroller? It's pretty much already got it being covered. All right, that's wobbling. I don't like that. I don't like that semi-dry stuff. It's going to need some time to cure firmly. I'm a little curious here. Yeah. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. Fucking weird shaped antlers. Kind of curious. Nope. Nope. I really do need to cake this stuff on. Which is fine. That's why we're at it tonight. Quicksand should make the seam vanish. And tomorrow I'll get some wood filler because that sealed the gaps stupid fast. And then we'll be hitting this stuff with some spray sealer anyway. All right, that's going to need some time. This is the gypsum, which has already, I don't want to call that dried. I mean, it's dried, but I don't know how cured it is. It's left a nice finish. It's sealed a lot of the crack. I want to be like, yes, let's paint it over with this, but I know what happens when you rush too much. Big stretch. Could super go for some music right now, but freaking YouTube. Did you play music? Was there sound? You owe somebody money for that. Just imagining, I bet you if I sang the C scale, they'd copyright claim it as music. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Demonetized. I wish I had understood the chemistry of this a little better. Because definitely when it's in that caked form and I go over it, man, those cracks just vanish. Might be able to get away with white bat audio. Just not worth it fighting the YouTube music hunters. There's a faint patina of acetone in the air. Surprise, surprise. Fuck. All right, that's the one that's really heavily curing. I should have brought one of the skulls up to show off, but quite frankly, damn it, out of my freaking nose. When I started trying to carry one up the stairs with these 10 sets of antlers, things became a little unbalanced. Yeah, we are going to wood filler tomorrow. That crack is just gone. And that was just one application. And I guarantee you I'm sanding before the recommended time has passed. Yeah, that's gone. That's beautiful. It does leave behind a little bit of buildup / overburden on here, but got more of this stuff, so. Oh, pardon. I think a 1-2 punch of wood filler and this stuff will be a one-stop shop. Filler for the big cracks, this for the surface, And Shazam. Yeah, that's, as far as I can tell, there's no crack there. Unless I really look, and nobody on Halloween night is going to be really looking. Ugh. Oh. Happy slightly off-kilter birthday then, Tracy. We have to stack our stuff very carefully so I can actually use the garage. But I very much appreciate the sentiment of getting older and having it be a little bit more burdensome on the old bones. I know that I, with my Schwarzenegger-like physique, would be quite am quite incapable of doing Halloween without my Dread Knight assistant Don. There. Oh, that's pretty glorious. Oh, snap, crackle back. Good. Tomorrow these will go downstairs and we'll hit them with a coat of sealer and finisher. Oh, it's so smooth. Smooth and shiny. Good, I can't see any kind of break there. Just want to hit these last areas where I can see the seam. My stuff is thickening. Oh wow. I can't see the seam in front, but I can very much see it on the side here. I suppose I could probably print these at a smaller scale as well. I don't really have to go 100%. The skulls and antlers would still look quite impressive at 75% size. And I might even be able to get them 100% inside the printer and not have any seams, but we'll see. All right, I'm going to call that close enough. Oh, this year's going to be so cool. Well, when I left the UK in 2010, there were definitely some kids going around doing trick-or-treating Halloween. It was catching on at that time. I mean, as we all know, it's really down to are people making money off of it. All right, we're going to need to cover the front face primarily. If it makes money, then yes, it will go overseas and wherever it can go. And Halloween certainly does make money. Not as much as Christmas, but every year it, I don't want to say catches up. The thing I've always worried about with Halloween is the prevalence of or I should say the growing prevalence of the trunk-or-treats and people who don't actually take their kids out trick-or-treating, but rather instead they they do it all safe and nice by not going around to strangers' houses. Can't blame any parent for wanting to be safe, though, but robs me of my fun, damn it. All right, silicone cup is not going to be tough to clean. I should have gotten a second silicone cup. I could get an extra silicone cup. I would rather take that with me. Careful, careful, careful. Knock some crap in the trash. Pop out some paint. Skins. Fill up a cell or two with acetone. Try to make sure that this brush doesn't die a horrible death. Please don't spill on me. Thank you. See how much we can get off. Be nice to be able to save the brush. Bristles are fairly clean. Okay. You're gonna fall. It didn't fall. Ah, that's nice. That's very nice. That's exceedingly nice. Yeah, to this day, I get a kick out of all those people who are trying to do the Christian thing and being like, oh, it's the holiday of the devil. I will pray for your soul, for your evil decorations. Ah. Dude, we're celebrating spooky, all right? Calm yourself down. think this brush will live to suck another day. It is not a good brush. Not a good brush at all. But I think it will live to suck another day. All right, we'll let this garbage all harden. I'll be able to swill it right out of there next time. We're going to fill up some water eventually. Brush cleaning. All right. This space is full. I can show one other thing I was working on. I started getting into magic at school to do illusions for students to highlight various stuff. And I made myself some magic wands. I don't know if I showed these off at all before, but it's mostly just some really simple wood carving stuff. This one was one of my tests because it's awful. And the more I look at it, the more it makes me go, ugh. But this one was a little bit more successful. And then there's the one I decided was actually going to be my wand if I ever do more stuff with it. So I did some rune work, a little bit of burning, gave it a hit of linseed oil. And what I have yet to do is add some decorative windy bits to the top and bottom. I bought some feathers and such to do that with, and now that I look at it, I should have sanded this more. And my wood burning has left resin all around the burns. That's okay. That's why we practice and why we do it multiple times. When I stripped a lot of the bark, I did it with a big chippy knife, and I see a little micro scar there from it. Again, it's not the thing that anybody tends to notice except the person who made it. I can show you a little bit of magic, or at least I will try. I don't have a mat here, but I can show you one of the basics, or a couple of the basics. But we'll see. I still want to decide what kind of bits and gubbins I have for this. It turns out that the whole advent of the magic wand is when you are hiding something inside your hand, you are gripping the magic wand and doing the magic gestures, because if you're holding something in the hand where you've palmed or hidden something, it looks more natural than having your hand in a, weird look where you're trying to reach around. So the whole advent of the magic wand is just wizards, or I should say stage magicians, holding onto something in a palmed hand with their wand so that it looks pretty decent at the same time without giving things away. All right, let's do a tiny bit of magic that I actually can do with a camera. Trick number one, balancing that crap and making it fall over on a comedic moment. All right. Definitely made me start keeping coins inside my wallet, though. I like to work with $50, and this is an English penny which is before they went from they decimalized their currency system in, I think, 1970 something. It's the date on this thing, 1966. So some point between 1960 and 1980, and after 1966, the British decimalized their currency system. So all the old pennies from that era were replaced. But the English penny from pre-decimalization is exactly as big as a $50 coin. So that's one of the reasons I love to use them. All right, let me see about an angle here. Oh. Oof. All right. So I have learned the classic coin vanish, where you take your coin and then throw it into a hand and it's gone. Naturally, the coin just exists in the other hand. And then there is the other trick where your hand is empty, you have something in it, and then you just rub the top of your knuckles and the coin comes back. There are two forms of that little illusion. So again, we have the coin and away it goes. And then you can take your hand that has absolutely diddly squat in it, bring your hand over it, and the coin returns. Let's see if I can capture another favorite of mine. And this one is we have a coin of one type, which is completely invisible. Let's see if my second camera is working here at all. Let's see if we can add it as a source. No, not display capture. This will be video capture device. Heaven help us. We have two cameras. See, I only find out which camera is actually already here. All right, C960. Add. Video capture device, so not the C960. This will be the FHD camera. Yes, it's working. It's actually working. Ah! You don't understand, for the longest time, that was not working. All right, close enough. It's shoving me side to side and not quite getting all of it. So let's see if we can grab the old table. All right. Let's see if we can also make the table not quite as blindingly bright. All right, so in this particular trick, we start off with the silver $50. And then you pick up the silver $50, you give it a whole bunch of rotates, then you reach under the world and you have the English penny. Ta-da! And of course, if you want to do it the other way, then you have the English penny, and then you reach under the world and you have the silver dollar back, or the $50 back. All right. And this camera works. The camera works. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Because last time this thing was being a pain and my little dual cast stream was not working so well. Nobody heard that clink? But I love working with coins. For some reason, cards just, I don't like them. don't like them. I feel like they've been overdone, overused. I just don't like them. I'd much rather use coins, sponge balls, other objects. And if I use cards, I'd like to use tarot cards to make it a little bit more meaningful. Literally, there's meaning on all the tarot cards. All right, let's get rid of... That's my other source. Need to undo that. Thank you. Okay, it's the FHD camera, which we are going to remove. Good. Let me try my multi-angle one real quick. The scene is probably going to screw up. No, it's there. It's functional. And the flamey thing, it looks right. God. I didn't actually try this thing out before. Ticks me off because on the regular craft screen, it looks all wonky with that stupid orange outline. But over here it works. Oh. Right. I can't guarantee the audio is working on that scene, but I know the audio is working over here. So, oh, computer magic indeed. Eventually, I will probably get this whole thing resorted out and get it all working again the way it's supposed to be. We'll see. Yeah, New Zealand's been a strange hotbed of Halloween stuff. I've had several folks bringing things back to life from New Zealand for a while. It is a really wonderful... I love the idea of Halloween spreading. I love the idea of the old Halloween traditions, the trick-or-treating and whatnot. I'm not so hot on the trunk-or-treat, but I understand it. And kind of like the community participation of it, where you've got trick-or-treaters and you've got the haunted houses, or just the houses that are giving out candy. Just a good time for, kids to have. Go out, show off your cool costume that you probably worked on. Be whatever you want. Dress up as a Jedi or a knight or a fairy princess or an evil fairy princess or a witch or a goblin monster. Be something else and be creative. That's the aspect I really love about it. All right, so we have 1, 2, this is 3 sets of antlers. We got moons. This might be 4 sets of antlers. 6, yes, 8. This is 4 sets of antlers. So that'll be 4 great big deer skulls with glowing eyes. 2 of them mounted to my throne. I probably ought to remake a throne. I don't know. The downside is you start that little conversation and it's all, I gotta make this, I gotta make that, and you'll get to it if you get to it. Or you won't, whatever. Oh, fishing, very cool. As long as the kids get to go have fun. I just enjoy being one of the houses that folks tend to come and see. I've had people come from the next towns over sometimes to come and check out our display. And it's a real compliment when they do. A lot of fun. So what's in store for this Halloween project-wise? Definitely these skulls. I'd like to make just some... I've got this new big 3D printer, and I'm starting to lose my inhibitions about making large prints because the 3D printing technology has come a hugely long way. I have gotten the Bamboo 3D printers now. They don't fail prints. They work every single time. And if there's a mistake, it's because you didn't support the part correctly. It's not because the printer turned it into a mess. Hey, Sarah, how we doing? Whereas my old printer, you know, start a long print, roll the dice. You run out of filament, you re-add filament, and there's some stupid little line in the middle of the print that's like, oh, God damn it. Or midway through the print breaks off the print bed and it's a mess and you get spaghetti everywhere. And with the printers now, so long as you're smart about it and say, hey, that particular part there, that doesn't look like it's going to stick without a brim around the bottom, and you take that step ahead of time, you're probably in pretty damn good shape. The printers now are so much better. And so I don't mind doing big prints. And the filament, depending on where you buy, has gotten a lot cheaper too. I do have Soundwave behind me. Yes. He is one of my Blokey's models. I got my two guys. Still have the box. Hoi. This is the Blokey's Soundwave. And next to me on the floor, I have the Blokey's Megatron. This is my guilty, I shouldn't say my guilty pleasure, because every now and again I look at Transformers figures and I go, oh, wouldn't it be kind of fun to get them again and get the re-releases? But then it's down to, they're asking how much for this? You know, and if I was 8 or 9, that would be an issue, because it was one of the, I'd get hundreds of hours out of playing with it, and I'd have adventures, but I'm not a kid. I'm an adult, god damn it. A huge toy-loving adult. A very immature, nerdy adult. But the thing I love about these is not only are they fairly nifty, but it's not a toy, it's a model kit. So you can't just take it out and start transforming it and having adventures. No, you have to build it. They build fairly easily. They're not difficult. They generally snap together. I use glue on a couple of spots, but I have to follow the directions, and yeah, they cost just a ridiculous amount, quite frankly, for what you got. Nice, Sarah. Very, very cool. I was just working on these 3D printed antlers. I had some areas where there was a seam between the brakes, where I assembled several sections into the full antler. After they were done, I was hiding the seam lines, testing various products to see how well they hid the seam lines, and seem to have found a workable solution that I like. Yes, I enjoyed the Bionicles as well. The other ones I liked were called Zoids at that time, but they were all kits. They were all models I had to build. It's down to, you know, I refuse to buy myself a Transformers toy because it's going to sit on a shelf and gather dust. The Soundwave and the Megatron will also sit on a shelf and gather dust, but I get the pleasure of a couple of hours of building them. So that's what I really like. I like to sit down, relax and just build a model. If it wasn't a model, I probably wouldn't have gone for them. Plus, I had some extra cash left over from when I did my. I was hired by a company out in Nevada to do some drone photographs of various bits, and they paid me a bit, so I had some crazy money to spend. So I bit the bullet on a Soundwave and a Megatron for myself, just so I can enjoy putting the models together. And then they can sit on a shelf and gather dust, and I'll be able to say, yep, there's Soundwave and Megatron, yahoo! I don't have to play with them, I just know that I got my money out of them because they took me several hours to build. And they're posable and nifty looking. Yeah, this year is going to be the year of the foresty bone deer skull stuff. I have a thing for, let me see if I can find a picture. Yep. Let's put our Megatron parts back in here. I will have fun building him later. And he can sit next to Soundwave on a shelf and gather dust. That's the thing I'm going to whack my toe on later. Let's see if we can find a picture reference. There are several movies out there that have nifty scenes. One of the ones I'm looking for right now is called The Ritual. But it's very, I mean, you guys have seen me do Witchwood in the past. It's very twisted, knotted wood looks of horror stuff. And that is what I'd like to go for more. Effigy. Unfortunately, it being a horror movie, a lot of the scenes are very dark. All right, so there's a lot of those twisted tree looking things in that film. Let's see if I can. I've got one here. Copy image, save image as. Let's throw it on the desktop. It's a WebP. Oh, I absolutely do make my own costumes and accessories. Actually, I probably got to make myself a new robe this year. Some of my super long black big shirts there are getting absolutely just shredded by time. Image. Create new. Browse. Desktop. There it is. Ritual effigy. So this is one of the various stick and wood pieces from the Ritual. It's, you know, straw, sticks, and I like that look to my Halloween stuff. Same way I kind of make Witchwood. So I'm going to try to make various effigies where the deer skulls form a centerpiece. I've got plenty of vine growing in the backyard. There's sticks available in the woods. And we'll see if we can't tack together some nifty stuff. My big concern is taking up too much space. And of course, if I make a stick and wood effigy, I can always just keep it outside and take the deer skull back inside, and whoop-de-doo, it's done. Or make a frame out of PVC and then just surround it with sticks and branches and vines and stuff. We'll see. Yeah, it's a fun film. Very, very dark and ethereal. We'll see. I always want to try to bring the Halloween vision to life, but there's a gap in artistic skill, and there's a gap in time, and there's a gap in storage. Storage is probably one of the biggest gaps of all. I have one bay in the garage. I have the basement technically, but that means hauling things up from the basement, and that gets real old real fast. Especially if they start getting heavy. I am 46, Don is 50, and we are just not in the mood to go hauling. I also have the attic space, but that means 3 flights of stairs. I suppose if I was smart about it, I would get one of those big outdoor bay things that have a roof. Of course, you know, keep one of those out long enough and it's going to get shredded by the snow, wind, rain, and weather. So, oh, I'm also kind of just enjoying relaxing. I hope nobody minds. Yeah. All right. There's a few things I could be doing. I should check those pieces for the positional lamp. I brought those upstairs. I brought those upstairs with the express purpose of painting them. Don't whack your toe on the vise. Don't whack your toe on the vise. And we've missed it. Yes. There we go. 2, 3, 4. I'll be so pissed if these are the type of batteries I think they are. Pardon. Oops. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Oh no, they're just USB chargeable, thank God. What's the max discharge? I just ordered some batteries for what's called a parametric speaker array. $3,200 milliamp hours. It does not say the max amperage they can discharge. 11.84 watt hours. These actually are really substantial batteries. I'm glad I double checked that. Hello? Yeah, I'm wondering how long it'll be until I decide that it's time to keep some of the 10-footer type things more assembled than not. Because those things are a bitch and a half to get assembled, especially if you're on your own. You know, right now Don's here helping me out, but, you know, God forbid anything happens to either one of us over time. All right. I don't know if I've shown you guys the reactive lamp before, but It's effectively this. Don't think I have a battery in there now. I'm quite frankly not even sure if the circuitry will work in the state it is currently in. Oh, let's get a calibration phase. Okay. So there it is. There's various sensors along the bottom here, and if people approach or go away, it should augment its light behavior based on that. Right now there's tape over every single sensor, so this thing is behaving as if something is stupidly close. And what I'm going to do is take these little skull-shaped things, give them a more scully look, and mount them on this so it looks like their eyes are on there. All these things are designed to work with, that's its somebody got too close behavior. And this should be its, I want to say that's its default. I have another crystal around that is foggier. Where is my foggier crystal? It was over there. But now so is everything else. Here it is. There we go. Yes. That candle flicker flame seems entirely too fast. I think the other thing I did with this thing was... Yep. Put a little bit of cotton floof inside to mask it. And I was unsure of how I wanted to handle this overshroud. And it was a matter of, was heavily considering that putting witchwood on it would be a good way to go. But that's the general project. Thank you for not breaking or cracking or doing other horrible things. The battery slides up and into the back compartment, plugs in. And then this little bit here is supposed to seal it up, but it frankly kind of sucks, and I need a better mechanism for that. I can probably just put a USB-C charging port right out of there. Now that I know how to do that. But these things here need to get scullified. So, since we have a few minutes, I like that better. Okay. I think some idiot glued the on-off switch on. Or made the on-off switch. That's right, this is not an on-off switch. That's the go green by default switch. If stuff wasn't working, it's supposed to just be a green glowy crystal. That's that mode. Okay. What I do need to do is that thing going? And now that I have my great big giant printer, I should be able to do that much better. I have a plate. Here we go. These guys need some dry brushing. I'm going to take care of them. Give me a second. I'm going to use the restroom. I will be right back soon. There we go. Get the dry brushing done on these. Reasonably sure I have white paint around. Yay, it's still liquid. Definitely need to go through the craft room and find any of the supplies that are just getting way too old. Have a good one, David. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate it. Let me get these guys dry brushed and consider taking a break myself. Yeah. Or at least commencing some sort of wind down activity. I mean, this is relaxing and windy downy in and of itself, but something more of a pre-sleepy activity. I've forgotten how good a little bit of dry brushing can make something. Okay. No problem. Here's our little skellies after a quick dry brush. We'll hit them with some white in a moment. Was that the reply to your storage situation there, Tracy? It's one of my oldest brushes at this point. Somewhere around here I should have some purpose dry brushing brushes. There. Ugh, come here. Next question is, do I have some pure white around here? That was an antique white. Yeah. There's some pure white. Do I have some yellow? Of course I have yellow. I do pumpkins sometimes, damn it. All right, so. Oh my. Let's. Let's make the bottom of their teeth a little yellow. Oh, very cool. Is that a you're making those graphics or a you're liking those graphics? Ah, yes. I think most of my stuff comes from Atmos FX. They actually are having, or had, I'm not sure. I saw they had one of those halfway to Halloween things recently. So they were trying to get everybody to grab all their animations. They've got a very quality selection. I will give them that. I have lots of their animations, though I don't do a whole lot of digital decorating anymore these days. I just don't have the kind of throw I want from my projectors to any kind of projective surface, which is a bit of a bummer. There's our yellow. Yeah, the eyeball is there. They have a whole thing that's just like eyes, And if you go on their website, atmosfx.com, I might even have a link to it in the video description. I'm pretty sure I've got most of anybody who has contributed to the stream's graphics or design in any way, unless I bought those elements, attributed. There are also my exit screens for the Pumpkin King and the Headless Horseman come from them as well. Too wet. Getting better. Good. All right, let's finish this off with some white highlights. Though I want to make sure that yellow fully dries. There's nothing worse than doing a dry brushing and swiping your dry brush over an area to find out that it is not as dry as you thought it was, and you walk away with some of that paint on your dry brush. Okay. Around the eyes, across the top, across the nose, on the ridges of the teeth. Good, yeah, you should find lots of really cool animations for them. The ghost in my Be Right Back screen is their, I think that's the, God, it's like the Wrathful Wraith is what they call it. Suffice to say, they have several exceptional video elements. All right, that's our little dudes. Okay. My next big question is, do I have a Sharpie where I can find it? Yes. Okay. Just want to darken the silver around that. Oh, I don't know if these guys are going to need any kind of spray seal. Oof. Wow. Probably not. Oh, that's all the way down. But ultimately, they'll lock on right like that. That's not bad. Ultimately, I can probably save myself a lot of work if I just printed this in a black filament to start with. Have a good one, Joy. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be calling it a night very soon myself. Honestly, looks pretty good. I don't know about these PIR detectors. Those look fine. We'll save the rest for a proper spritz. I may cover the sensors again, give it a witch wooding, and then call it good. Probably play with the code a little bit. But yeah, it's a good unit. Just put those right there. No, they're going to get knocked off. That's okay. Remind me to get to work on them. All right. Those are curing. That is done-ish. And we are in good shape. It's time to sign off, give the cat some treats, then go see how sleep deprived I want to be tomorrow. All right, everybody, if you're still with me, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you joining me on this return trip to the craft room. Hopefully it heralds some more visits pretty soon. We'll see. These antler and skull projects are definitely going to be busy for a while. So again, thanks for hanging. Take care, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Find the screen. Night.